This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game here on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel, and after the fact, both on the channel or wherever you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, was covering UCLA sports, football, men's and women's basketball with the Daily Bruin, and now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Our team is the Angels, and unfortunately, our Angels had a little bit of a come back down to earth moment today after a 4-game winning streak, including back-to-back extra inning thrilling wins. The Angels come back down to life here with a 12-5 defeat against the St. Louis Cardinals. Obviously, they took the first 2 in this series in St. Louis, but really in this one, the main difference, the bullpen that was able to weather the storm at times early on in this season, despite not having all the biggest names and not the most experience. They did not do their thing today at all. And obviously yesterday wasn't perfect. The offense in both the 10th and 11th innings was able to kind of hide it. But today there wasn't really much to hide. The bullpen just really struggled in this one, gives up 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 6th, and 7 runs in the 8th inning. Obviously 12 runs as a team, not good at all. So plenty to talk about in this one. But before we do, as always, a quick shout out to everybody in here. I am once again doing it live from work. I'm in my little telephone booth here in the Clippers offices. So shout out to everybody who was able to join. I know I wasn't able to schedule this one. Didn't know when exactly I'd be available, but able to come on now about 10 to 15 minutes after the game ends. So shout out to everybody that's in here right now. A lot of frustrated fans in this chat, and I don't blame you. It's definitely a frustrating loss. Obviously has to be taken out of context. Still a very solid start to the season, but we will talk all about this one on today's show. Also, quick shout out to the sponsors of today's show, both Wonderful Pistachios and Monarch Money. We'll talk about them later in this one. But as we do every single show, we have to talk about, the player of the game, the deciding factor in this game. First and foremost, we got to talk about the turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the turning point in this one has to be the bottom of the 6th inning, because that's when the unraveling starts. In reality, it's got to be the bottom of the 7th and bottom of the 8th for the most part, because obviously the Angels offense was able to contribute decently in this game with 4 runs coming via the Logan O'Hoppe grand slam in the top of the 7th. And so really the turning point is, yes, it hurts you gave up 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th, but for O'Hoppe to respond with a grand slam and you're feeling really good about things, and then you give up 2 more runs in the 7th, that's the turning point, in my opinion. Obviously, the 7 runs in the 8th is going to hurt the most, and that's what decided the game. It was 5-5 until the blow-up in the 8th inning, but it really hurts when you give up runs, your offense responds, Logan O'Hoppe responds with a grand slam, and instead of then having their back, having your lineups back, the bullpen continues to collapse in innings 7 and 8. We have to give Logan O'Hoppe his credit, and we will certainly do that later in the show, because it's been a rough start to the season for him. Obviously, it was really good to see him have that grand slam in the top of the 7th inning. But at the end of the day, the bullpen really struggled, and Kikuchi was not stellar. Certainly, we haven't quite seen the Kikuchi we were hoping to see when we go and sign him and make him the ace of this team. He goes 6 innings, he gives up 4 hits, which isn't terrible, but 5 walks. 5 walks. I know Kikuchi is a sneaky strikeout guy, but he doesn't throw hard enough. He doesn't throw crazy enough stuff for him to be walking 5 guys and giving up 2 home runs. So you only see 4 hits, but you see 3 earned runs via the 2 home runs, and the 5 walks did not help. He got out of a grand slam jam, so you got to give him some credit for that. But at the end of the day, I would like to see a little bit more from him for sure. And then obviously it just went downhill from there. Ian Anderson, he finishes with 6 hits, and I apologize. I'm struggling here a little bit to see my screen. There we go. 6 hits allowed, 5 runs, 4 of them earned. He had the walk. He gave up a strikeout. Burke comes in and he was just as poor. Another 2 walks for him, and that was really disappointing, is just to see all these walks. You're really never going to win a game when you walk 8 guys, right? And so Kikuchi's the biggest guy to blame for that, giving up 5, but he also was able to overcome those walks a lot better than Ian Anderson and Burke were able to. They combined for 3 walks. They combined for 9 runs, 8 of them earned. Obviously, Burke contributing largely to that in that disastrous bottom of the 8th inning that saw this game really go to nothing. And so it's very disappointing. Like, people in here are going to, rightfully ask, why did Ron Washington leave Ian in the game? That's a great question. Same thing can be asked about Burke. Why do you leave Burke in the game when he's clearly struggling? Obviously not as experienced as an Ian Anderson, so maybe that's the justification for leaving Ian Anderson. Brock Burke, 28 years old. He's certainly not a rookie or anything, but Ian Anderson, despite being younger, I feel like you probably trust a little bit more in that situation. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Brock Burke, I didn't trust him coming out there. And so to see him struggle and continue to be left in the game, very disappointing. Yes, as Andres points out, the strike zone was very questionable at times today. But yes, the blame has to go to Ron Washington above all else. Obviously, he can't control Ian Anderson not crumbling. He can't control Brock Burke not crumbling. He can't control Kikuchi not having his best stuff. But he can control things like having Nicky Lopez in the lineup instead of Kyron Paris. We're going to get into that rant later because it's getting ridiculous in my opinion. He can control that. He can control taking Ian Anderson out at the right moment, taking Brock Burke out at the right moment, getting more creative instead of just letting him out there to dry, right? Leaving him out there just to be absolutely screwed, right? So disappointed in some of the decisions made by Ron Washington today. Don't know if the differences would have, given them a win, but certainly would have given the Angels a chance to go up in the top of the 9th and maybe be down 6-5 or 7-5, right? Based on what we've seen the last 2 games and what we've seen so far in this season, even though the Angels lineup isn't amazing, it has shown that it can be clutch in key moments, in extra innings, in the 9th inning. And so if you go up, to the plate in the top of the 9th inning and it's 7-5 and you need a rally, even if you don't get the rally, it's just another game where you're in the game, you're giving yourself a shot and you're gaining more experience. But to just have it completely blow up and fall to, it's 12-5 and there's no point of even trying in the top of the 9th, that's what was so frustrating. And that I do feel like Ron Washington could have managed a lot better. We'll get to the player of the game in this one. And, as much as I don't want to do it, for the first time ever, it's not going to be Kyron Paris. And for the first time ever, it's not going to be an Angel.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Yeah, it's got to be Iván Herrera. I mean, he was just an absolute menace today for the Cardinals. He finishes 3 for 4, 3 runs, 6 RBI. Just really impressive. And he had a walk as well. By far the best hitter, the best player in this game, period. Just very impressive performance from him. He started off the scoring for the St. Louis Cardinals with a solo shot off of Kikuchi on the first pitch of the at-bat. He gets a hanging curveball from Kikuchi. He hits it 395 feet, and despite the Angels having a 1-0 lead, he's able to cut into that. And then he's the one who then once again, via the long ball, 2-run shot off of Kikuchi again, basically all the damage done off of Kikuchi by him. This time it's a hanging slider. So he hangs a curveball, first pitch crushes it. This time Kikuchi changes it up, goes first pitch fastball, then goes off speed 3 times in a row. But unfortunately on 2-1, he hangs a slider, and that one was absolutely crushed. 415, 112 off the bat from Herrera. And, in just 2 at-bats, 2 swings, he's got 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and it's a 3-1 ball game. So he's the player of the game. In addition to that, he added another hit and he added a walk. And that other hit, in case you didn't know, was a 3rd home run, right? So just an absolutely massive performance from him. The 3rd home run was obviously the biggest, coming off of Burke, a 3-run shot, hits it 425 feet. So it's the Iván Herrera game, right? There's no other way to put it. 3 home runs off of 2 different pitchers, both lefties. And the main thing here is he gets a first pitch home run, and then he's up 2-1 on that slider, and then he's up 2-0 on that fastball that he hits for the 3rd home run of the game. So all 3 times he was never behind in the count. And that's something that the Angels struggle with in terms of their lineups, is getting ahead in counts. And so it's nice to take some notes and see, he got ahead in the second 2 at-bats, And then the first at bat, it was a first pitch hanger. So really impressed by him. You got to tip your cap, a guy who came into the game without any home runs and to suddenly, not even be the everyday guy last season with Wilson Contreras. Now they're giving him more opportunities at catcher, and he was absolutely fantastic today. No other way to put it. That last home run, obviously, it wasn't really necessary. At that point, it was already 9-5. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you hit 3 home runs. Anytime you hit 3 home runs, you have to be the player of the game. An honorable mention, or who the player of the game would be if it was an Angel, I think it has to be Logan O'Hoppe. Obviously, he's been struggling drastically, and he only has 1 hit today, and the average is still 188. But it was a grand slam. Obviously, at that moment, it did tie the game, and so you have to, or it did give the Angels the lead, after they fell behind. So you got to give Logan O'Hoppe a ton of credit, and hopefully he can stay hot after that swing. At the end of the day, you still finish the series 2-1. You're still 4-2. And so if the biggest takeaway from today's game is not that the bullpen crumbles, but it's that Logan O'Hoppe can catch fire, that Mike Trout, who hit his home run, can catch fire, then that's hopefully all we can take away from this one. But we're going to take our first break here. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Angels offense. We did mention O'Hoppe. Got to give him more shout out to Mike Trout as well. And then we'll look forward to see what the Angels can do to bounce back from this loss. Still a great start to the season. Not going to try to act like it was not that, that wasn't the case. So we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the Angels offense. So today's show is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better-for-you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller, longer. I love pistachios. For those who don't know, I talked a little bit about it last year. I'm a big gym guy. I go to the gym every single day, every single morning at 5:30 in the morning. And especially right now, I'm also training for a half marathon. So trying to get as much protein, be as on top of my diet as possible. And with pistachios, Wonderful Pistachios, able to get that protein in a unique way, right? Not a protein bar, not a protein powder. How about a yummy tasting nut? Pause that also is going to give you, those healthy unsaturated fats, right? So I love Wonderful Pistachios for that reason. It's a complete protein. It's got 9 essential amino acids, and it's convenient, right? It's in a little small pack, very easy to take around, eat it at work, eat it in the car, eat it on the way home, all that good stuff. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. And today's show is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Monarch Money, Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Amen. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using it, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery, right? Last year, especially in college, when I didn't have a car, the food delivery was crazy. And now I notice how much I'm using it on regular food, not delivery. I told myself, I'm not using Uber Eats, so it's okay. But if you're still going to the store and buying in person, sure, you're saving a few bucks, but you're still spending a lot. So now, instead of juggling multiple apps to see that spending and see how much I'm spending on this credit card versus that one, I can just use Monarch to check my finances, track my spending, and even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Monarch Money. Back here live with the Locked On Angels postcast here on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel. Rough game for the Angels today. Iván, I'm blanking on the name all of a sudden. Iván Herrera, and I don't know why I'm blanking on the name. He was a menace all game long for the St. Louis Cardinals. 3 home run performance. He hits a solo shot off of Kikuchi. He hits a 2-run shot off of Kikuchi. He hits a 3-run shot off of Kikuchi. Unbelievable performance from him. He finishes with 6 RBIs, 3 for 4, the 3 home runs, and he had a walk as well. He's had a great start to the season now. 467, a 1.7 OPS there at catcher. Arenado was also great tonight. He was 2 for 3 with 2 walks as well, 2 RBIs for him, 2 runs as well. So he's hitting 391 with over an 1,100 OPS. So you have those two guys in the middle of your lineup. Baker's been amazing so far, 429 with 1100 OPS. Nootbaar's been amazing so far. He was fantastic all series. He's now 2 for 5 today, hitting 417 with a 1200 OPS himself. And Walker also, I'm just going down their lineup, and every single person has an amazing average, an amazing OPS. No wonder this team is 4-2. And that's what makes the games yesterday and the day before so impressive. You're able to go 2-0 to start the series against a previously undefeated St. Louis Cardinals team. So it's a tough one. There's a lot of things that went wrong for the Angels in this game. You have a costly error. You give up 3 home runs to Herrera. You give up good, big performances to guys like Nootbaar and Arenado. But you did have a few bright spots and hopefully a few things that you can take into the next game. Obviously, the first one being the Logan O'Hoppe grand slam. But let's not forget about Mike Trout's home run. And I do unfortunately forget who was it in the comments yesterday that was promising a Mike Trout home run, and absolutely unbelievable that he was right. Mike Trout does hit his first home run. To shout out to the guy who was promising that. Mike Trout goes deep, 106.1 exit velo off of Sonny Gray, 413 feet on a 1-2 hanging curveball. Yes, it was Vinny. It was Vinny. Yes, we've got TFL and Dave making sure they give Vinny his credit. It was Vinny who called it, so shout out to him. Don't see him in here right now. I'm sure he's busy celebrating that prediction. Hopefully he had some money on it or something. But yes, Trout takes a 1-2 hanging curveball off of Sonny Gray, absolutely crushed it. And it was a big swing at that time in the first inning, gives the Angels a 1-0 lead. You were hoping that Kikuchi would be able to keep that, but unfortunately that's where the Iván Herrera breakout game started from there. Now, that being said, the rest of the lineup had an okay game in the sense that you score 5 runs, but when it only comes from 2 swings, it doesn't really matter, right? So Taylor Ward goes 1 for 4. Rengifo with a rare 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Soler was 1 for 3 with a strikeout. Moncada 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. He did have a walk. Shanuel goes 1 for 3 with the strikeout himself. He did score a run. O'Hoppe, again, just that one hit, but it was a grand slam in the top of the 7th inning, which at that moment looked like the big swing that was going to make it 5 wins in a row and 5-1 for the Angels. Joe Adell 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, and Nicky Lopez 0 for 4 with the strikeout. And that's where we're going to conclude this one. Ron Washington, I don't know why you're being so stubborn. Kyron Paris has been the best hitter on the Angels lineup, or in the Angels lineup so far. Whether it's in a start, whether it's in a pinch hit opportunity, whether it's in the White Sox game where his home run's the reason we won, whether it's in, these Cardinals games where it's getting RBI triples, whether it's getting the RBI hit yesterday, it's always Kyron Paris, right? So I get it. If you want him to be protected and played in center field, right? The moral of the story is he's got to be in the lineup, right? So Joe Adell goes 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, and he's coming back from an injury. Meanwhile, Nicky Lopez is absolutely useless at the plate so far right now, unfortunately, right? So why in the world are both of those guys playing instead of Kyron Paris? I get it. If you are insistent on, Kyron Paris not playing short, then play Kyron Paris at center field and let Joe Adell come back from his injury and also prove that he belongs to be or deserves to be an everyday hitter. Because right now, Kyron Paris has done absolutely everything you could ask for him. And so it's not fair for him to not be an everyday hitter. Play Kyron Paris, period. Play him at center field. Play him at shortstop. Personally, I don't see why. The most logical thing to do would be, all right, if Adell's your everyday center fielder right now, take out Lopez, play Paris. If you don't even want to play Paris at short, play him at second, play Rengifo at short. There's no reason that Kyron Paris is not playing this game today. He is young and he's promising, and he's also the best hitter on the team right now, right? It's one thing if it's Joe Adell all of last year when the reason he's getting at bats is because you're trying to project the future and hope he can become something. Kyron Paris, obviously you're doing that as well. You're projecting the future and hoping he can be an all-star, but right now he's your best hitter. Right now, he's getting it done every time you ask him. So there's no way he's not in your lineup. He should be in center field today if you insisted on having a different shortstop, but he should be playing second base or shortstop every single day with Adell in center field until Neto comes back. And then when Neto comes back, guess what? It's the rare situation where the Angels have a problem in the sense that they have too many guys for positions. We never have that. We're looking for anyone that can hit a baseball, right? But imagine when Neto comes back, and if Kyron Paris has been playing at shortstop or been playing at second base with Rengifo at shortstop, imagine when Neto comes back and the decision is, all right, Neto's in. Does Kyron Paris go to center field or is it Joe Adell? And not because Nicky Lopez is playing short, but because Zach Neto's playing short. That's an amazing dilemma to have versus the one we have right now where it's not a dilemma and only Ron Washington is making it one. That's what's so frustrating about this. So that's where we're going to leave it. definitely frustrating. Obviously would love to have the win, would love to be 5-1 right now. At the very least, would love to have seen it be a closer game going in the top of the ninth inning, not a 7-run eighth inning. So there would have been an opportunity. Who knows? Maybe Kyron Paris gets pinch hit and he delivers again. But the Angels fall 12-5 today. I know this was a little bit of a chaotic show. I hope I didn't make it seem like one. Anytime I do it at work, I'll be honest, it's going to be a chaotic show just because I'm working all day, obviously, including while the game is on. I'm watching it while I'm working. It's hard to keep track of everything. So, I hope the show is still as good as it could have been despite that, and despite being in this kind of unique setting. I don't know why there's certain people that I'm not going to name from other platforms that are making fun of me for giving you this show while at work. I'm trying to do everything I can for y'all to keep a show going. So sorry, I'm committed to you guys and other people aren't. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say there. But I'm very proud to bring you this show whenever I can, especially if it's right after the game ends, like a day like today where I'm able to take my lunch break and do it for you then. So shout out to everybody. No, eBay, I'm not going to name names. I'm just going to say that this is the place to be after the game for Angels shows, and I appreciate you for all being in here. So shout out to everybody in here. I see some of the loyal guys that have been here every day so far. You're all appreciated. Antonius, eBay, Steve, Dusty, Omar, TFL, Jeff from last year, just to name a few. Obviously, Vinny called the home run, and everybody else in here. You guys have been awesome so far. We're going to keep it going. So leave a like. If you're somehow not subscribed, make sure you do that. And leave a comment after the video ends so I can make sure to see your comments. And like Wally says here, can you still confirm we're going to win the World Series? Yes, I'll confirm it. Yeah, Wally says, I've been here. You definitely deserve the shout as well. No. I'm not dropping any names. All right. I'm not dropping any names. All I'm going to say is this is the place to be after every single Angels game. And so shout out to all of you. So with all that being said, have a great rest of your Wednesday. I know it was a disappointing loss, but we'll turn it around in the future. We absolutely will. I'll be with you after every single game upcoming. I'll let you know if anything changes ever. There will always be communication on my end if I'm not able to do a show. So we do have Clippers games this weekend that I have to work. And so we'll see if I'll be able, to do it still. That's something I'm still trying to figure out. If there's ever a case where I can't do it, I will always let you guys know in advance. But with that being said, Cardinals 12, Angels 5, disappointing loss. The bullpen struggles, but we will be back and we are still 4-2. Take care. Have a good one. Halo Nation, we'll be back. Take care.